Hello, my second grade classes. I hope you're all doing very well. I hope you and your families are doing well together. I miss you all very, very, very much. I wanted to video myself teaching this next lesson. I know we haven't been able to do any live lessons in the last week or two, but I am going to try and do a Google Meet with one of the classes tomorrow to test it. And then I'm going to do see if that works and we can do Google Meet sometime next week with all of you. I miss you all very much. I want to thank you all for submitting your assignments. You're all doing a great job. I am very, very proud of you. Some of you have just recently joined my page, so thank you so much for joining. And if you have just joined my page and you're behind on some of the assignments, you do not have to do all the assignments to catch up. If you just do assignments 1, 3, 5, 7, and 8, except for class 103A. Class 103A, you have different assignments. But except for class 103A, for all my other second grade classes, if you just do assignments 1, 3, 5, 7, and 8, they introduce the lesson to you. So if you just do all those assignments, you'll be able to understand where we are right now and what we've learned so far. But for now, I pretty much do a recap of each of the previous lessons on every assignment that I post. So you kind of all understand and know where we are and what we're doing next. But if you have any questions, please feel free to send me a message on Remind and I will respond to you. So for this week, we're going to learn about how do we choose our leaders. So how is the president, the mayor, the governor, different leaders, how are they chosen? And our learning objective for today is that you can understand how the election process for local, state, and national leaders are by doing a mock election. So our assignment for this week was a mock election, and I'm pretty excited. I wish we were in person because I was going to do a more fun project, and I was going to do more of a live in-class election, and we're going to pick 2 or 3 people who wanted to run for like a class president to do these assignments, but it's okay. We can still have fun with it. I am going to be tracking all the votes for each class, and I'm going to let you know who the class president is for each class based on the assignments that you guys turn in. So I'm going to give it all the way until next week in case we have some kids that hand in assignments late or not. I know it's due Friday, but you can submit it to me at any time, either before or after May 1st. It's okay. But I'm excited. I'm going to see who we're going to pick. Is it going to be Steven, Rosie, or Lisa? So I'm pretty excited. So what I wanted to talk about is about election. Okay. So communities, as we've reviewed as we've learned in the past few lessons, I'm going to just do a quick recap. Communities have rules and laws, and they affect how the communities function, right? If we have a local leader, they run the rules for the local community, for the state government. So the rules and the laws affect how they function. The United States is founded on the principles of democracy, and these principles are reflected in all types of communities. We've also learned about how we're united by a democratic government and how we have symbols of freedom, right? We learned about all the different symbols like the Statue of Liberty, the Liberty Bell, Washington Monument. There's so many different symbols. We learned about the bald eagle. So we learned about all of that as well. Community leaders represent the needs of the community to the neighborhoods, the boroughs, the cities, the states, etc. A leader is a person who is responsible for guiding or directing a group. Leaders in our community can run schools, libraries, and parks. The local government passes the laws to keep everyone safe. We learned about who our leaders are, right? So our leader, our president, is Donald Trump. Our governor is Andrew Cuomo, who is our state leader. And our city leader, who is our mayor, is Bill de Blasio. Right? And they all have different jobs and duties. And on the previous assignment, I had asked you to give me 3 jobs or responsibilities that each one of these leaders had. And you all did an amazing job. Great job on all the different types of responsibilities that these leaders have, right? The president makes the laws. the governor runs the state and the schools and the systems, and the mayor runs the city, makes sure that we're all safe and that we're following the rules in order for us to, be safe and be good citizens in our community, right? We learned about how also our government is structured under the three branches of government. There's three branches. And, I think in one of the assignments we also did our government tree, right? And we did the three branches, and we did leaves on how the leaves represented a different responsibility that each branch has. And that was also a fun task. And so we talked about the executive branch, which carries out the laws, and the president oversees this branch. We talked about the legislative branch, which makes the laws, and Congress makes up this branch. And we also talked about the judicial branch, which evaluates the laws, and the Supreme Court and the judges make up this branch. So for this lesson for today, we're going to learn about how do we choose these leaders? How are these leaders chosen? And I know we've talked about this in the very first assignment and said, who picks the leader? Who picks them? So these leaders they become a candidate, right? They do a campaign. They tell you their qualifications. Why are they going to be good in the particular role that they're running for? And we, the people, the citizens, we vote for them, right? So there is an election, which is kind of like what we're doing in our assignment today, right? So election is when people vote for the person that they want to be their leader. When you vote, it's the formal choice that you're making between two or more candidates. So in your assignment, you're voting for Stephen, Lisa, or Rosie, right? You're voting for one of these three candidates in an election process to see which would be the best class president. And the majority is the most votes. So whichever class has the majority of votes for that particular candidate is the one who wins, right? So if, let's say, class 2-209 has the majority of votes for Rosie, then Rosie will be the class president for class 2209. If Lisa has the majority of the votes for class 2202, then Lisa will be the class president for class 2202. Same for 2207. Let's say somebody picked Stephen. So then Stephen is the class president there. Okay, and that's how it goes. Every class will have a different majority of votes. There's something called electoral votes. And electoral votes means, and this usually only happens when we're electing the president of the United States, right? Because a lot of states, depending on the population, which is the number of people living in that state, they get a certain number of votes. So each state gets a certain number of votes. So for example, Pennsylvania may only get 20 electoral votes. New Hampshire may get 4, but New York gets 29 electoral votes because New York has a bigger population, right? So that's how electoral votes. It means the number of votes each state gets. So that's usually more so though when we're electing the president of the United States. So when we hold elections and voting, because they are examples of democracy, we have to do that as our right? So we have rights as citizens to be able to vote and elect the members of our leadership who we want or who we feel are the right leader for our country or our state or our community. The local leaders are elected also, and the local leaders can be mayors, can be city councils, can be borough president. State and national leaders are elected as well, and those are the governor, the senators, or the president. And there's a process, like I mentioned, for elections and for voting, right? You can vote in schools, you can vote in your community, you can vote in New York State. You're voting. There's a process when you vote. You have to go somewhere and vote and submit your ballot. Do you know how men and women become government leaders? Our leaders, as I mentioned, are chosen through election. An election is when people vote for that person that they want to be their leader. The person that has the majority of the votes, or the most votes, wins the election and becomes the leader. Our local leaders, as well as our governors, senators, and the president, all get to be in their position through an election. So we have voted for Mayor Bill de Blasio, we have voted for Andrew Cuomo, our governor, and we have voted for our president of the United States. So all these leaders are voted through an election process. They present their campaign, what their qualifications are, why they think they're going to be a good candidate, and then we take that into consideration and then we vote for them. Elections are important for a democracy because they give everyone a voice in their government. It's important that we vote because we want our voices heard. We want our opinions to be heard, right? Like I mentioned, each state gets a certain number of votes, and these are called the electoral votes. The states that usually have the larger population get a little bit more electoral votes. But again, this only really occurs during a presidential election. So like I mentioned before, what I wanted to do in this assignment was to do a mock election. So I'm going to tally up all the results that I get from all of you. And next week I can tell each one of your classes who won. So in this attachment, I gave you three class president candidates. I gave you Stephen was candidate 1, Lisa was candidate 2, and Rosie was candidate 3. And they all have different qualifications, right? Stephen helps students who are stuck on their work. He's responsible. He does his homework on time. He wants to start a no bullying club. Lisa is a very good friend. She wants to, raise money to do better things in our community, like improve a playground. She wants to make sure the children have healthy snacks in school. And Rosie, she's just a hard worker. Even when times are tough, right? She wants to improve the school lunches. She wants to make sure that we have a choice of time every week. She wants to start different clubs. She wants to raise money for children who don't have enough money or food to eat. So she wants to do a lot of good things. So the question was, for you, who would you want as your class president? After you've read all the different qualifications that these candidates have, who would you pick as your class president? So that's what assignment 8 is. And for class 103.8, it was assignment 5. So class 1, my second graders, we are filling out our class president opinion organizer that I attached with the assignment, which looks like this. And you're basically going to put your name and your class, because that is very important so that I can tally my results. I need to make sure I have your class name on each of your papers. I mean, some of you just put your first name, which is fine, but I have some kids that have the same names in different classes. So I want to make sure I have your name and your class. And then you're going to put who the person is that you voted for. And then you're going to give me 3 reasons why you think that person was best for that job. For my class 103A, you're just going to write 1 or 2 sentences for me and tell me why that person was a good candidate for your choice, okay? I can't wait to see all your votes. I've seen some of them so far. I see Stephen and Rosie are kind of winning, but I'm not going to give you more information. So again, keep sending them to me. I'm so excited. I love looking at all your results and your work. I'm very impressed with how well you guys are all doing. I'm very proud of you. And again, thank you all for submitting all your assignments. I miss you all, and hopefully we can do a live class very soon. I hope you're all doing well. And if you can have any questions, again, please feel free to reach out to me and ask me any questions through Remind. And I hope you have all a great afternoon and a great evening. Bye, my second grade classes. I miss you all.